know he doesn't miss me. I know he doesn't regret anything that he's done to me. I know he blames it on me.
When I became really uncomfortable was when he put his hands around my neck. Things began to very rapidly kind of fall apart.
I have never spoken to Charlie since then. At the time when he did testify against me.
Charlie Sheen's love life wasn't just Hollywood gossip, it was a headline machine. From whirlwind marriages to explosive breakups, his exes include actresses, models, and socialites, all of them walking away with stories that still shock today. Some romances were short-lived, others were marriages that ended in chaos. But each of them shaped the legend and the scandal of Charlie Sheen. So, what really happened to his most famous relationships? Let's dive in. Scottine Ross, the explosive engagement that never happened. In 2013, Charlie Sheen believed he had found the one. Her name was Scottine Ross, better known to the world as Brett Rossi. Within months of dating, Sheen was calling her his soulmate. By early 2014, he slipped a ring on her finger. For a moment, it looked like a Hollywood fairy tale, but this was Charlie Sheen, and fairy tales don't last long in his world, just weeks before their wedding. Sheen called off the engagement. Publicly, he claimed it was to focus on his kids, but behind the scenes, the breakup spiraled into lawsuits, hospital visits, and shocking claims that made headlines for months. Scottine accused Sheen of hiding his HIV diagnosis, of emotional and physical abuse, even of pressuring her into life-altering decisions.
I know he doesn't miss me. I know he doesn't regret anything that he's done to me. I know he blames it on me.
Sheen fired back, and the relationship that once burned bright became one of his most toxic endings. Today, Scottine has stepped back into her industry on her own terms and advocates for mental health. But her chapter with Sheen remains one of the darkest in his romantic history. And if you thought that was messy, wait until you hear what happened inside a New York hotel room with Capri Anderson. Capri Anderson, the hotel scandal that shocked New York. In 2010, Charlie Sheen's chaotic love life exploded into one of his most infamous scandals. This time with Capri Anderson, an adult film actress whose real name was Christina Walsh.
I was there willingly, yes, initially.
Then you say here in the complaint he took your dress off.
Yes.
It's still okay. What went wrong?
When I became really uncomfortable was when he put his hands around my neck.
What started as just another wild night in Manhattan's Plaza Hotel turned into a media circus. Sheen was drunk, destructive, out of control. Hotel staff found a trashed suite, a furious Sheen, and Capri Anderson locked in the bathroom, terrified for her life. She claimed Sheen had hurled threats at her, used degrading language, and created a scene so violent she feared he might kill her. The tabloids couldn't get enough.
I started to resist. He started throwing things. He threw a lamp. That was the first thing he picked up.
The Two and a Half Men star was suddenly the face of Hollywood's most unhinged meltdown. But it didn't stop at headlines. Capri filed a lawsuit accusing Sheen of false imprisonment and misconduct. Sheen fired back with his own lawsuit, accusing her of extortion. Their chaotic encounter spiraled into legal warfare, with both sides painting the other as the villain. For Anderson, the incident became a turning point. She gave interviews, warning the world about Sheen's self-destructive lifestyle. Though she later returned to her career and new ventures, her night at the Plaza Hotel remains the story the world will always remember. And if you thought a hotel scandal was wild, Charlie Sheen's next relationship led to marriage, twins, and a Christmas Day disaster. Brooke Mueller, marriage, twins, and Christmas Day disaster. After his chaotic romances, Charlie Sheen seemed ready to settle down in 2006 when he met Brooke Mueller, a real estate investor with charm and stability. In 2008, they married in a lavish ceremony that looked like Sheen's fresh start. A year later, they welcomed twin boys, Bob and Max. For a moment, it looked like Sheen had finally found peace, a family man at last. But peace never lasts long in Charlie Sheen's world. On Christmas Day, 2009, police were called to their Aspen home. What should have been a holiday morning turned into scandal when Sheen was arrested after a violent dispute with Mueller. The shocking arrest shattered the picture of their marriage and set off a downward spiral.
Tell me exactly what happened.
You know, my husband had me with a knife, and I was scared for my life, and he threatened me.
On Christmas Day, wife Brooke Mueller called 911 to say Sheen was threatening her with much more than words.
By 2010, Mueller filed for divorce. What followed were years of custody battles, rehab visits, and public meltdowns. Mueller herself struggled with substance abuse, entering rehab multiple times, even losing custody of her twins temporarily. For a time, the boys were placed with Sheen's ex-wife Denise Richards, just to keep them safe. Today, Mueller continues to fight for sobriety and raise her children away from the chaos of her past. But her story with Sheen remains one of the most dramatic chapters in his turbulent love life. And speaking of Denise Richards, Sheen's marriage to her was just as explosive, filled with love, betrayal, and Hollywood-level drama. Denise Richards, love, kids, and Hollywood divorce drama before Brooke Mueller. There was Denise Richards, the relationship that became one of Charlie Sheen's most famous love stories and one of his most infamous breakups. The two met while working on the film Good Advice and quickly fell into a whirlwind romance. By 2002, they were married in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by Hollywood friends. Together, they welcomed two daughters, Sam in 2004 and Lola in 2005. For a time, it seemed like Sheen had found both family and stability. But behind closed doors, cracks were forming. Denise accused Sheen of substance abuse, violent outbursts, and reckless behavior that endangered her and the children. In 2005, while pregnant with their second daughter, she filed for divorce.
After Sammy was born, I got pregnant 6 months later with Lola, and I filed for divorce when I was 6 months pregnant.
A move that shocked Hollywood. The split became one of the most bitter custody battles of the 2000s. Court filings, tabloid leaks, TV interviews. Richards claimed Sheen was unstable. Sheen accused her of being manipulative. Through it all, their daughters became the center of a storm no child should ever endure. And yet, Denise proved resilient. She built a career in reality TV, starred in The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and found love again with actor Aaron Pfeifers, marrying him in 2018. She even adopted a third daughter, Eloise, expanding her family despite past turmoil. Today, Richards continues acting and raising her children. Sheen remains tied to his daughters' lives, in complicated but enduring ways. Their marriage may have ended in chaos, but Denise's strength made her one of the few Sheen exes to truly rise above the storm. But before Denise and Brooke, there was another woman whose story with Sheen ended not just in heartbreak, but in court. Enter Brittany Ashland. Brittany Ashland, the night that ended in court. In 1996, Charlie Sheen was at the height of his fame, but also spiraling in his personal life. That year, he began dating actress Brittany Ashland, a romance that would become infamous for all the wrong reasons. What started as a passionate fling turned into a nightmare. One December night, during a heated argument at Sheen's home, Ashland accused him of pulling her hair and slamming her onto a marble floor so violently, she lost consciousness. Her injuries were severe, requiring 7 stitches to her lip. The story hit headlines instantly, tarnishing Sheen's image. By February 1997, Ashland filed a lawsuit accusing him of battery, negligence, and emotional distress. At first, Sheen pleaded not guilty, but eventually, he accepted a no-contest plea to battery with serious injury. His punishment, probation, fines, and restitution. But the real damage was to his public reputation. For Ashland, the incident was a turning point. After months of media scrutiny, she stepped away from the spotlight. Her story remains one of the darkest chapters in Sheen's love life. A reminder of how quickly his romances could collapse into chaos and controversy. But long before lawsuits and scandals, Sheen had already rushed into a marriage that barely lasted 6 months. Meet Donna Peele, his very first wife. Donna Peele, a marriage that lasted 6 months. In 1995, Charlie Sheen shocked fans by doing something few expected. He got married. His bride was Donna Peele, a model he had met just weeks earlier while shooting a commercial. Their connection was instant, their romance whirlwind, and in September of that year, they tied the knot in a wedding that drew plenty of Hollywood attention. But the fairy tale unraveled almost as quickly as it began. Just 6 months later, Sheen filed for divorce. The official reason? Irreconcilable differences. But the real story was far more complicated. At the time, Sheen was entangled in the infamous Heidi Fleiss scandal, accused of being a frequent client of Hollywood's most notorious Madam. The pressure of the media circus, combined with Sheen's volatile lifestyle, placed unbearable strain on his brand new marriage. After the split, Sheen would compare Donna to a broken-down car, a cruel statement that revealed how bitter things had become. Donna, on the other hand, quietly walked away. She left Hollywood behind and chose a private life, far from the spotlight. Unlike many of Sheen's other exes, Peele never cashed in on her story. She never gave interviews, never sought attention. To this day, her life remains a mystery. And while Donna faded into obscurity, Sheen's next flames were socialites who craved the spotlight: Tamara Beckwith and Tracy Richmond. Tamara Beckwith and Tracy Richmond, the socialites and the spotlight. In the mid-1990s, Charlie Sheen was one of Hollywood's hottest names, and that meant his dating life was always under the spotlight. Among the women who briefly shared that spotlight were Tamara Beckwith and Tracy Richmond. Tamara Beckwith, a glamorous English socialite and TV personality, dated Sheen in 1995. Their romance was short, but fiery, played out in front of flashing cameras at Hollywood parties. Beckwith thrived in the limelight, later co-owning a photography gallery in London. Her time with Sheen was fleeting.
I think, as you get older, you realize just, wow, actually there's lots of things that could go wrong.
But it added another tabloid chapter to his growing reputation as Hollywood's wildest bachelor. Around the same era, Sheen was also linked to Tracy Richmond, a popular TV personality and writer. Their romance burned bright, but didn't last long. Richmond later hinted that Sheen's partying and self-destructive habits made it impossible to stay together. After their breakup, she published a book about her Hollywood experiences, leaving Sheen as just one chaotic chapter. These romances may not have ended in lawsuits or scandals, but they cemented Sheen's image as a man who lived fast, loved fast, and never slowed down. But if short-lived party romances made headlines, nothing compared to the engagement that ended with a gunshot. Kelly Preston. Kelly Preston. The engagement that ended with a gunshot before the scandals of the 2000s. Charlie Sheen was already making headlines for chaos in his personal life. One of his most shocking early romances was with actress Kelly Preston. The two met on the set of an action comedy film. Their chemistry was undeniable. They quickly fell in love, got engaged, and for a short while, they looked like Hollywood's next golden couple. But in true Sheen fashion, the fairy tale didn't last. In 1990, tragedy struck. A .22 caliber revolver accidentally discharged inside Sheen's home. The gun reportedly fell from his pocket, and the bullet struck Kelly in the arm. Though Sheen insisted it was an accident, the story spread like wildfire. It cemented his reputation for recklessness and danger. The relationship collapsed soon after. Preston ended the engagement and walked away.
I was not that happily married, let's put it that way. I was really with the wrong person.
Choosing safety over scandal, she would go on to marry John Travolta in 1991, building a decades-long love story. She also enjoyed a successful acting career, starring in hits like Jerry Maguire and Twins. Tragically, she passed away in 2020 after a private battle with breast cancer. For Sheen, the breakup was yet another early warning sign. Instead of stability, his love life spiraled further into scandal. And speaking of scandal, Sheen's next high-profile flame wasn't just a girlfriend. She was Hollywood's most notorious madam, Heidi Fleiss. Heidi Fleiss, Hollywood's most notorious madam. By the mid-1990s, Charlie Sheen's personal life was already a tabloid roller coaster, but nothing fueled the fire more than his connection to Heidi Fleiss, the woman the press called the Hollywood Madam. Fleiss was infamous for running an exclusive escort service for Hollywood's elite. And Sheen wasn't just rumored to be a client. He openly admitted to spending thousands on her services. Their relationship blurred the line between romance, scandal, and business, making Sheen's name a permanent fixture in the headlines. In 1993, Fleiss was arrested on multiple charges. Sheen became a star witness at her trial. His testimony revealed shocking details about his involvement, only deepening the chaos around his image.
I have never spoken to Charlie since then. At the time when he did testify against me, of course I had some harsh feelings.
The pressure of her legal battles and the media circus eventually ended their relationship, but by then, the damage was already done. Fleiss's life later took a darker turn. After prison, she left Hollywood behind, moving to Nevada, where she started an exotic bird sanctuary. The Sheen-Fleiss saga became one of the defining scandals of the 1990s, forever tying his name to one of Hollywood's most infamous figures. But long before Heidi, Charlie Sheen's romances were with rising Hollywood stars, actresses who were just beginning their careers. Enter Charlotte Lewis, Winona Ryder, and Robin Wright. Charlotte Lewis, Winona Ryder, and Robin Wright, young Hollywood's rising stars before the lawsuits. Before the scandals, Charlie Sheen's love life was filled with young Hollywood stars. In 1986, Sheen dated Charlotte Lewis, fresh off her role in Roman Polanski's Pirates. Their romance lasted about 2 years, but Sheen's alcohol problems strained the relationship. After their split, Lewis kept acting, even appearing in Playboy, before stepping away from the spotlight. Not long after, Sheen was linked to Winona Ryder. The two met while auditioning for the film Lucas. Their chemistry was instant, on screen and off, but their romance was short-lived. Both were at the start of huge careers, and they chose to put work first. Interestingly, Sheen even suggested Ryder's now iconic stage name while listening to Riders on the Storm by The Doors. Then came Robin Wright, another rising star. Sheen and Wright enjoyed a brief but lively romance, typical of 1980s Hollywood's party scene. Their split was quiet, drama-free, a rare exception in Sheen's dating history. Looking back, these early romances show a striking contrast. While Ryder and Wright went on to build legendary careers, Sheen's path veered into chaos and controversy. They were the calm before the storm, proof that even Hollywood's brightest beginnings can take very different turns. But after all these women, all the chaos, and all the headlines, what lasting legacy does Charlie Sheen's love life really leave behind? Charlie Sheen's love life has been as famous and as infamous as his career. This was the story of Charlie Sheen's exes, a love life that became legend, scandal, and cautionary tale all at once. So, what do you think? Charlie Sheen was just unlucky in love, or do you believe he himself destroyed every relationship he touched?